Hey gang, Mr. Jenkins back with your final lesson from chapter 3. Ideally, we would have been done with instruction by this point, but as you guys know, we've been a little bit behind since I got back from the old paternity leave, so I really appreciate you guys bearing with me. That being said, you do have to kind of really be on the ball from this point forward. Okay? Hopefully you're pretty well caught up on your assignments so that you can kind of focus on this lesson and the study guide. All right, so kind of 2 learning targets. We want to be able to solve and graph inequalities containing the word and solve and graph inequalities containing the word or. So kind of 2 different types there. Just so you know, on a number line, and inequalities kind of look like this. So you have 2 boundary numbers because you have 2 inequalities, and then you shade in between. Okay, or ones kind of look different. So you still have 2 boundary numbers, whatever they may be, and for that you shade away. So for ors, you're shading toward infinity and toward negative infinity. All right, so we'll start with a couple generic ones. We want to write and graph. So these are good ones to start with. A says all real numbers that are greater than -2. Greater than -2, so that would be and, so that's a key word, and less than 6. Less than 6. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write that just like it said. I'm going to use the letter X every time here. So we're going to say, actually I'll use the letter N. So I'm going to say N is greater than -2 and N is less than +6. So that would be one way you could do it. You can also do these like this. So you kind of have to know these both ways. You can also do and inequalities this way. So you put your lower boundary number here. Well, let me graph it first. That might help. Let's go ahead and graph this. So you want your 2 boundary numbers. We have -2 and +6. Decide whether your circles are open or closed. So they're both open because I didn't have any or equal to. And then greater than -2 means this way, less than 6 means that way. So we kind of shade everything in between. All right, so that's how you would put that on a number line. You can also write out an and inequality. So this would be one way. Another way would be like this. So you kind of almost look at this. So you go -2 is less than n is less than 6. I know that's a little bit confusing because I know you're thinking, but you said n is greater than -2. But if we read it variable first, n is greater than -2. Okay, so I guess you got to understand that this and this are the same thing. A little bit confusing there. Let's do an or one. All right, so this one says all real numbers that are less than 0. So n is less than 0, or, sorry, I circled the wrong or greater than or equal to 5. So n is greater than or equal to 5. Okay, so here you actually just use the word or. There's no other way to write these. So you go n is less than 0 or n is greater than or equal to 5. Okay, and then the graph for these looks a little bit different. You still put your lower number, you still follow the rules of a number line. Lower number goes over here, higher number over there. This time it goes less than our lower boundary number though. And then greater than or equal to our higher boundary number. So fill that in because it's or equal to, and we shade to the right. All right, so I think on the notes I get into some interval notation too, so you can think about them that way too. Interval notation is kind of neat with these as well. All right, let's solve a couple, and then I want to give you guys time to work today, so I don't want to take too much of your time. Let's maybe do B and C. We'll do B and C and leave you guys for A and D to look up. Okay, so this one's written together. This is an and, okay? I think in the book they tell you to split it apart and then solve. You don't really have to do that, but you could, okay? So I'm going to show you a different way. So we're trying to solve for y here. So we would act like we're solving an equation. We would want to get rid of -4 first. I'm going to add 4 to everything. And add 4 here, here, and here. So it's not adding 4 to both sides here. It's adding 4 to every side. So it cancels that out. It gives me whatever it gives me everywhere else. -4 plus 4 is 0. We have 3y plus 0 in the middle, so just 3y. And then -2 plus 4 is 2. And then we would divide everything by 3 to get rid of my coefficient. And so we get 0 over 3 is 0. 3y over 3 is y. And 2 over 3 is just, we'll keep that as 2/3. Okay, so that one is solved. I'll go ahead and graph it too. So everything between 0 and 2/3. Kind of a cool little math thing here. How many numbers are between 0 and 2/3? Think about that one for a second. The answer is there's an infinite number in between 0 and 2/3. That's pretty crazy, right? All right, so let's skip ahead to C. So if that didn't make sense, like doing, operations to kind of 3 sides, if you want to call it that way, you can also split these up. All right, so we could rewrite this as 6 minus C over 9, and that's greater than or equal to -3. And same thing, 6 minus C over 9 is less than or equal to +9. Okay, and we can solve them separately. So we would multiply both sides by 9 first. And that would give me on this side just 6 minus C greater than or equal to -27. Then we would want to get rid of the +6. So we're going to do -6 to both sides. So that would give me -C is greater than or equal to -33. And then we would divide both sides by -1. Which as soon as I said negative, hopefully you thought flip it. So that would give you +C is less than or equal to 33. That's part of my answer. I'm going to go a little bit quicker on the next one. So times 9 first gives me 6 minus C less than or equal to 81. -6 is going to give me -C is less than or equal to 81 minus 6 would be 75. Divide by -1, we get C is greater than or equal to, don't forget to flip it, -75. So we could leave it just like that and kind of combine them with the word and, or we could rewrite it as -75 is less than or equal to C is less than or equal to 33. So either way there. And then on a graph, we're closed in on both boundaries because they're included in shade in the middle. All right, so going ahead to the word problem here. It says to earn a B in your algebra course, you must achieve an unrounded test average of between 84 and 86 inclusive. So that just means or equal to. You scored an 86, 85, and an 80 on the first 3 tests. So I'm going to go ahead and add those 3 numbers up. So that would add 251. And then it wants to know what possible scores can we get on the 4th to earn a B. Okay, so this is my lower and upper boundary. So we'd have 84 is less than or equal to. I'm doing something real quick. Go ahead. So it'd be 251, which is what we've already earned, plus any of our possible scores. So we'll call that X divided by 4, because that's how you do average. Add up all your 4 scores and divide by 4. And then 86 would be my upper boundary. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply both sides by 4. On the left side, that's going to be, what, 320 plus 16, be 336. And then 86 times 4, that'd be 320 plus 24, so 344. Then we just subtract 251 from both sides. That should be a plus sign. Anybody got a calculator out there real quick? Can somebody grab it? I need 336 minus 251. What was it? 336 minus 251. 85. And then what about 344 minus 251? Thank you. So I could get anywhere from an 85 to a 93. All right, so finishing it up, I'll go a little bit quicker on these OR ones. And yeah, that should take care of us. All right, so example 4A. So remember, for ORs, you just use the word OR, okay? And you treat them like 2 separate inequalities, okay? So we're going to solve for t here. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides would give me 3t is less than -9. -7 minus 2 is -9. Just go somewhere else right now. I'll help you later. Divide both sides by 3, we get t is less than -3. Over here, we subtract 5 from both sides. That gives me -4. T is less than 1 minus 5, would be -4. Divide both sides by -4. As soon as I said negative, you got to think flip. And that's going to give me t is greater than +1. Okay, so that's our solutions. Those are our solutions. And now I want to graph that. Let my line pop up here. All right, so we want our low boundary here, -3, our high boundary here, +1. And then less than -3, so just like that, greater than +1, so just like that. I'll do one more and then I'll let you guys look at the rest of them. So example D, and then we might talk about example 5 in class because my other class is about to start. All right, so looking at D, -7 to both sides is going to give me -2y is less than -6. Divide both sides by -2, we get y is greater than +3. Notice I flipped it there. Subtract 3 from both sides, we get 4. Y is less than or equal to -8. Divide both sides by 4, we get y is less than or equal to -2. So that's one part of my answer, and then the graphing part. So let's see, less than or equal to -2, so fill that in, shade to the left. Strictly greater than +3, so leave that open, shade to the right. Like I said, there is an example 5, but I need to go ahead and get started, so I might send you a separate little video on those, but they are on the notes. All right, guys, hopefully this helps. You all have a nice day. And now we're studying for our test.